we're going to go down to the 10 note away minor 7. Okay, so then that one is going to be an odd, so it's going to be the same from measuring it this way as our chord construction, which would be the 1, 3, 5, and then it's not part of our normal triad, but it still at least lines up with our normal chord construction, where it's the odd note, and so it's the 7th, meaning it's the same as it's the 7th note in our scale. So that makes sense, at least. That's helpful. All right, so let's say, so this is the big one. So it's a 10 note away minor 7. So normally for a major mode, it would be an 11 note away major 7. So that means that if I look at the minor 7 for this F, for example, normally all I have to do then to convert this from a G Mixolydian, which is a major mode, to the actual major mode, the Ionian mode, in other words, is just shift this F to here. That's all I would have to do. And so that's one way that you can kind of shift the shapes in our mind. So notice that would come up with a whole different shape here. So you could think about it shape-wise and say, well, what shape would be built if I didn't play this G, but I played this G? And then you can name that with like your numbering system, or you can name it with a caged system if you want to. Or you can just say, look, I'm just looking at everything from this shape because I know this shape, and then I'm just shifting whatever interval I need to in order to shift it to the related, major scale, right? So that's what we're doing here. So that, and notice again, that's really a neat way to do it, because it will lead you to play a little bit different than if you just try to shift the entire shape in your mind, and it really helps you to focus in on that one different interval in like a different way. And you can do that with all of the related modes. So you're playing this one shape, you have all of these modes in this shape, and I can convert any of these modes this way to its related major or minor mode, right? So I can convert the Mixolydian by just shifting one interval to the G major. I can convert the Aeolian, which is the minor scale. Well, that's basically the minor scale. It's already there. The Locrian I can't do much with because it's a weird one. The Ionian is the major scale. I can't do much with that. But the Dorian, I can convert the Dorian, which is a minor mode, by shifting one interval to the related D Dorian to a D minor. The Phrygian is a minor mode. I can take the E Phrygian, which has all the same notes, and convert it with one shift of an interval to an E minor, right? And then the Lydian is a major mode. So the F Lydian, I can convert the F Lydian by shifting one interval to the F major. Now, it's not always going to be the 10th. I have to determine which interval is different. But once I do that, that's one way that you can just, I don't have access to every different shape that way, but that's one way you can kind of expand what you're doing. And then once I'm on any of these other modes, right, if I converted this D to a D minor rather than a D Dorian, then I can think, well, what are all the other modes that are relative to the D Dorian? If I converted this Phrygian from an E Phrygian to an E major, then I can think about all of the other modes that are, to an E minor, then I can think about all the other related modes to an E minor. If I convert the Lydian, the F Lydian to an F major, then I can say, well, all of the other what are all the other modes that are relative to, right, the F major? Similarly with the Mixolydian, if I convert the Mixolydian here from G Mixolydian to G major, then I can think, well, what are all the other modes that are relative to the G major that just have that one note kind of difference? And then I can shift my focal points and so anyway, enough of that. So that means that we're going to be here. So let's do this. And this is one of the ones that we can kind of play with. When we were on the third, we kind of shifted the third up a little bit. Like you can kind of shift it from the third up. You can kind of do this here with this bluesy note here, but possibly more intentionally whenever you're moving home. So whenever I'm going home, you might hear this sound, right, where I'm on, like, this is the F. common sound, possibly, depending on what you listen to. So let's so that means that so let's start this. So if I go up, it would be 10 notes forward, but that's too far. So I'm going to look for the inverse distance. So I'm looking for a 10 note away minor 7. 12 minus 10 is 2. So if I go 2 back, that would be it. So from this F, if I went from this F to the G, that would be a 2 note away, which would be a major second. But then if I go from G to F, that would be a 10 note away minor 7. And again, whenever I play that, I'm going to like, okay, how can I fudge it a little bit? How can I add the wonk maybe to emphasize the wonkiness, man? The wonkiness. So I could kind of slide up past that one maybe, you know, or do that roll. So sometimes you could do this and then to get that leading tone home. So anyways, you can play with that in multiple ways. Let's go up a string and say if I go up a string, I'm looking for the 10 note away minor 7. I have to look for the inverse distance. Let me just find it first. So we have to look for the inverse distance. So a 10 note away minor 7, if I go up, has an inverse distance of 12 minus 10, which is 2. So it's -5, -4, -3, -2. Let's count it up over here. So -5, -4, -3, wait a sec, yeah, -2. So if I go from top to bottom, from F to G, that would be a 2 note away minor major second. Therefore, from bottom to top would be a 10 note away minor 7. 10 note away minor 7. Now, where's the major 7 is going to be here. So we could kind of slide that. So, right, some here. So I'm ending it on this G, because it's leading to that G, or you can try to lead it. There's, you know, kind of try to, you know, blur the line there a little bit, blur the line, and then we're going to say, what if I go up 2 strings? It's going to be here. So it's going to be, all right, if I go up 2 strings, I'm still looking for the inverse distance, which is going to be 12 minus 10 is going to be 2. So it's going to be -5, -10, -11, -12. That brings me back to the octave, which could also be 0, and then -1, -2. So let's count it up here. So we're going to say -5, -10, -11, -12, octave, or 0, 1, 2. So boom. So top to bottom from this F would be a 2 note away major second. Therefore, bottom to top would be a 7, would be a 10 note away minor 7. Hopefully I'm saying minor 7. And then again, I can kind of say, well, could I play with that one? Like if I was just up here, there's the major 7. So again, you could do that same rolling whenever you find. And you could try to do it while you're doing down here. I don't really do that much, but you could try to. So let's go down a string. So then if I go down a string, we're looking for this one here. So now I'm going down a string. So we're going to go, this is going to be 10 note away minor 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hopefully I'm always saying minor 7 here. I might have messed that up. I feel I'm like it's getting scared that I'm messing up here, but hopefully I'm not confusing anyone too much. This is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom. So that means if I go down one string, the 10 note away minor 7 is always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which is going to happen on only the G string. So then it's going to be just out of reach over here. So if I go down one string, this is a common one. It's going to be the 10 note away minor 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, in which case, which can only happen on the G string, if I go down one string and cross the fault line, the 10 note away minor 7 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frets forward, making it kind of just out of reach. And then, but here, this is where the stretchiness comes into play, because notice that this is what I call my 3 pillars, like from here, but then it got shifted up to here, to here, but you have the two kind of that you can play like this, right? And then so that you have that kind of stretchy thing, and then that leads to the shuffle pattern, which is like this. So I usually try to play it with this finger over here, my middle finger, if I'm trying to stretch out here to my normal shuffle pattern, which would be that E, which is the 6. But then you can add the 7, which is pretty long reach. That's why when you play it up here, same thing, right? That's a pretty long reach, like right there, you know. But I'm playing it at almost the hardest place to play it on this G, right? We could be playing an F Mixolydian, that would be harder. But this is pretty hard. That's why the A that's one reason I think playing in the key of A might be more common and the key of E might be more common. But again, if you can stretch your fingers to reach this, then, and you can, because then you can play it like this. Instead of playing it like this, like my power chord like this, which some people can do, but you can see my finger, the way my hand is shaped, isn't quite big enough, you know, to do that. This wants to be out here. So if I play it like this, which I see other people doing, it's not just me. Like, I mean, then you can reach out here. So you can basically do it, and if you can do it there, then you should be able to do it here on the A. And of course, you should be able to do it down here on the G. So that's pretty cool. And then with this, you can't really reach from here, or I can't, to kind of fudge it out to here. To get to the major 7, you could. Back to the power chord. Possibly, but you can see that if I was on this F, I can always roll it forward to that G with our normal kind of. Which sounds kind of cool. Anyway, I feel like maybe people could disagree with that. I think that's a cool sound. Let's go down 2 strings and cross the fault line. So it's going to be 5 and then 10 up here as we cross the fault line. So let's count it up over here. So it's going to be here 5 and then 10. So if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 10 note away minor 7 will be up 1 fret. If I don't cross the fault line, which would happen on either the E or the A string, and I go down 2 strings, it would be on the same fret. So if I go down 2 strings, the 10 note away minor 7 is on the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which is going to happen on either the D or the G string as my starting point, in which case if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 10 note away minor 7 will be 1 fret forward. So that's kind of on this shape here. It's kind of interesting because you have your 5th. If I play my normal chord, my 5th is right here, and then my 3rd is down here. So you can kind of play This is the D shape. But oftentimes, or you can play the full D shape, like the D shape you might recognize as that. That's pretty difficult to play. So a lot of people kind of fudge it by playing it like this. A lot of people, meaning I fudge it by playing like that. But if you do that, then you can also add you can also add this right here, which gives you that 7. So that's cool to have. And then you can go back to this. And then again, of course, here's the third. You can kind of mess around with the third to the minor third and the major third. But you can also maybe mess around with this 7. There's the minor 7 to the major 7, and then here's the G again. So. If I was just on that 7, there's that same sound. So the question is, can you work that into like a chord maybe? So I'm just walking it up while trying to strum this one. Anyway. You're running long on time, man. You're pulling too much time here. We need to move on. You're breaking your own rules. Breaking your own rules, man. All right, so if I go down 3 strings, the 10 note away minor 7 will be 5, 10, 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 2, 1, 0. Back to the octave or 12, and 12, 10, 9. So we can go, this is going to be 5, 10, 15, 15 minus 12 is 3, 2, 1, 0. There's the octave, or 12, 12, 12, and then 11, 10. Boom. Hopefully I counted that correctly. I feel like I messed something up, but yeah, that's right. All right, so that means if I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line, the 10 note away minor 7 will be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back. Now if I don't cross the fault line, which would happen on like the top string, which is out of here it is way over here, and I go down 3 strings, then it would be 1, 2, 3. The F would be here, shifted up 1. So normally if I go down 3 strings, the 10 note away minor 7 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets back. It'll be easier because this got shifted up. If I go down 3 strings and I cross the fault line, the 10 note away minor 7 will be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back. And again, obviously down here you've got your same little pattern. So you could try to work that in here. Kind of muddied because I'm playing the G here, the G here, and so anyways, it is what it is. Let's try one more joke and we'll close this thing out. This one has to do with so it's not supposed to be offensive or anything, but sometimes people take offense to these type of things. So, but I wrote it down here, so let's see what we got. You know, after David became king, and smote all of his enemies, he was like talking to God and was like, he was doing it while he was painting an image of a house, and he was saying like, you know, God, now that I've secured my kingship, I'll make a temple for you. But then God, while looking at the somewhat structurally unsound house that David was painting while they were talking, was like, no, David, you've done quite enough, you know, with the fighting and everything. Yeah, I hereby declare that your son Solomon should be building my temple. You know, because he wasn't drawing very good. That wasn't even a joke. I don't even know what that was. I don't